connecting the audio.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, Mona.
How you doing?
Good in yourself?
Good. I'm fine.
It's so nice to meet you in the Zoom flesh.
Nice to meet you as well. I don't know why I thought we was meeting tomorrow.
You know what? That's what surprised me. I was like, I thought it was tomorrow, but
Yes, we were going to talk about episode 7.
yeah, which is tonight, which is okay. We can run it after the episode airs, and our people will be like, "Oh my God,
They're gonna just melt into the floor."
this is perfect." This is Taylor.
Yes.
Hi, Taylor.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to meet you.
Good. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, we're excited. It's Hip Night. They've been celebrating this for.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. It's
Oh my
an
God.
event. It's an event now.
This episode almost took me out.
Woo! Well, let's get through the introductions for the audience, and then we can jump right in.
Yes. So I'm Taylor. For those that have never seen my mug before, I'm the admin of the Lovecraft Country discussion group. And Miss Pamela.
I am an admin also of the Lovecraft Country discussion group, and just so happy to be here to really get a little bit of extra, as they call it in New Orleans, a little lagniappe for those who are not expecting this, you know. And we are in the company of, now is it Andrea or Andrea?
Andrea.
Andrea. Okay, Andrea Mona Bowman, who, let me tell you, my best friend, Allison LaCour, is also a makeup professional in film and television. She came back from a film that she was filming in northern Louisiana, I believe you guys were.
Yeah.
Shreveport.
That's my hometown.
Oh, okay. You're from Shreveport?
I'm from Shreveport. Yes.
Oh.
So she came in and she said, wait a minute, you know what? Do you know Mona? I said, no, I don't know Mona. Mona was on my film and she did Lovecraft, and I lost my stuff completely. I was like, what? What? You've been holding this from me?
She didn't know, because actually I just met Allison for the first time on that show. Another young lady introduced us that I had asked from Shreveport that had moved here, and she fell on my heart to help me with that film, and she did it, and she brought Allison in as her key.
See how that works. And so she was like, here's her IG, and she never looked back. I went right upstairs. I was like, hold on. And Mona wrote me back instantly, and I was telling her about the group and how everybody loves your work, and she was like, 8,000 people are in the group.
More than that now.
Like, you need to know about the love that you all are getting.
Yes.
Well, I knew it was going to be a special show when we were actually doing it, because I worked with Misha Green on Underground season 1 and season 2. I did those as well. And that's where I got introduced to Misha, and her writing is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
So for her to do that the way she did, and how it was all those good little nuggets in that, I knew on this show, being that she's going from here to the future, to the past, to the current, to whatever, I just knew it was going to be something very extraordinary.
Well, Mona, the continuity shows. It literally shows in the storytelling, in what you all do creatively for the time frame, because that's some vintage, that's some research stuff. I'm gonna let Taylor jump in and give a little talk about
some stuff. We have been so proud of this entire production, just Black folk watching this, just as that, just seeing so much excellence. And I started this group because I did not see a space for Black voices to break down this show. And I joined a couple of groups, and I was like, you know what? This needs its own space. This needs its own space. This is going to be a content heavy, deep, beautiful rendition. And we need to have some space for this. So I created this group. Pam is part of the core of this group. And we promote Black intellectualism to break down this show, because there's so many layers and it deserves that. And from episode 1 out the gate, I knew, now see, I knew from the previews, like when I saw the trailer, I said, okay, I think this is going to get real. When I saw Letty running knees to chest through the forest, I knew that I knew it was going to be honest. And I knew that I was here for it. And it has just been spot on in everything, right down to Letty having her hair tied up with a bat going to deal with the boiler. You know what I mean? It's just in the little details. Like that's exactly how she would have woken up. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Nothing is overdone. It's certainly not underdone. And it's just been magnificent.
Yes.
It just
Well,
has.
but for us, when we took the project on, because I'm the key, I don't know if they understand what that is. My position is the key hairstylist. I'm the second in command. My department head is Brian Badi. He's a native of Louisiana, of New Orleans, but he resides in New York. And me and him both have worked together. We met on Underground, and then I went with him to do Underground too. And then when he got the call for Lovecraft, he said, "I can't do without you, Mona. Come ride this train with me," because they were doing it in Atlanta. Because they did because normally how they shoot episodic, which is episode television, they offer you the pilot, which is the first episode. Me and him both was on True Detectives season 3. So I was going to leave to go do the pilot, but some stuff popped off and they couldn't figure out what they wanted. And then I was offered another job in LA, which I'm trying to head that way next. So I was like, I'm going to pass. And it didn't work out. But when it shot, they brought it to Atlanta as planned because they did the pilot in Chicago, actually in Chicago. And so when they brought the series to Atlanta, they came back and asked us about it again. And so he was free. And at that point, I was free. I had just finished Watchmen. And I told him I would leave Watchmen and come join that one because we was right at the end because Watchmen went over the time frame that it's supposed to be. It took us almost a year to shoot that one because we had some visual effects issues. So it pushed me into starting Lovecraft. But the guy that was working with on that one, he understand, we understand the overlap and how that works. And he actually came after he finished and was the third, and then he ended up getting a show and he had to leave and go to another show. So it's so funny how certain things have the process. Most people don't know the behind the scenes stuff. So when he asked me to do it and I read the script off the gate from the pilot, I was like, this is gonna be very interesting because I am that hairstylist that want to make our stuff look great and authentic and make it work. Because I feel sometimes they don't expect us to really understand certain things about this craft. And they sometimes hire other people to do our craft because their resume looks so much better than ours per se. But when it comes down, most of the time they have been hired somebody like me to do the job, but they get credit for the job, being that I'm not in position 1, which is the department head, or position 2, the key. And those are the names that you normally just see. Like on this one, I was very excited that the producers put the third and the additional, even though we had many hairstylists to help because this was a big show. Because to do period stuff, that's a whole nother level of shows. And I was fortunate, and I'm known in the industry of doing vintage work. My first show, my first big film was The Great Debaters with Denzel Washington. Yeah, that was my first initial show.
Awesome.
That I had never did period hair, but I'm a good mimicker. And back then we didn't have a cell phone. We could slide and screenshot and all that. I had to go to the library and print pictures out. I had to get an understanding. Nobody even taught me or walked me through the process of how set works. What's the look? I didn't know what a period meant at that point because I was in the salon and I met a guy at my pastor's house. And he said, you know how you talk to some people, you can just tell they the one. He said, I can just tell you the one. He said, I'm going to give you an offer of a lifetime. He said, this don't happen. He said, but I know you the one. And I said, oh, okay. I didn't know what that offer was. I was just excited because my cousin, she does it as well. But she was doing like the Master P low budget films or whatever. And she was like, cuz you would be great. You awesome. You do all this. but you'll be great in the film. I was like, girl, how much they pay? I said, I got 3 kids, a mortgage, all that. I can't do low budget, but won't mean no harm. So it was Thanksgiving Day. We prayed, and I told her, I said, if it's meant for me to get in this, God gonna have to meet or beat what I make in the salon. And then I'll know to walk into it. And he did just that. And when I met the guy, it was a full majors contract. I walked in, head blind as a bat, and I remember the first day on set because I didn't know what was nothing. And they was like, we're waiting on the director. Here come Forrest Whitaker walking in. I'm just like, Forrest Whitaker, okay, get it together, girl, get it together. And then he was like, we're waiting on the director. So I knew Denzel was in it, but I didn't know Denzel was directing it. So he come with his smooth walking self. I seen him there. I was like, oh God, Denzel Washington is here. I'm having a moment. He comes in the trailer. Hello, everybody. He walks over, introduces himself, and he's like, you okay? And I'm trying to hold myself together. I'm just like, no, I'm saying this on the inside of me. No, I'm not okay. I'm Denzel Washington. I know who you are, dude. But I was like, yes, sir. Just like this. I know it probably freaked him out because he looked back like, you sure you're okay? I was like, yes, okay. And ended up leaving out of the trailer, got the young ladies ready, went to set, and I remember making a whole plea with God, and I was so scared. And I was like, God, if this really for me, you're going to make it plain for me, and I'll be able to do what I need to do, but I don't know nothing. And I walked to set, because set was just in a walking distance. I get there. I got to watch Forrest Whitaker now. And I'm in a corner like this scared because I don't know what watching him mean, which mean cover set. Mean I have to make sure that whatever his look looked like, I have to continue. That's when she brought up continuity. I didn't have none of the one-on-ones. So God literally threw me, and I'm stroking, backstroking.
That's
and
right.
I was in the corner, and I was just like, okay, God, okay, oh God, okay, God, you got me, you got me. And Forrest, and I never forget, he looked at me, he said, come here, young lady. I said, yes, sir. He said, this your first time, ain't it? I said, yes, sir, how you know? Oh, I was like, I'm so scared. He started talking to me, telling me what Last Looks was, what all the basic dynamics of what I needed to know to cover set. That don't happen because most big time actors, if they know you're not where you need to be, they don't want you to cover them or touch them or bring that around them because they feel like you don't know. So it'll freak them out. And he, as he talked, that bubble just came down and it just calmed me. And I said, oh my God, this is amazing. I can do this. And as soon as he looked at me, finished talking, Denzel said, last look. And he looked at me and he winked his eye. And I knew what to do. Because the young lady hair that I did, I made it too modern. That's something else from coming to a salon to a film. You're making a person look for that look. But in a film, you're making a character. You have to know their backstory. You have to know their life story. You have to know their age group. You have to know the time period. You have to know what they're going to be doing actually in this particular scene. All those dynamics have to be thought about before we even get to work the next day to actually make this character. So it's so many layers that we have to do to even just get that character. When y'all see that character, we done went through so many layers of things to make this look. Because if you have a crackhead, you can't have her in there fabulous. You got to come in there, beat that hair down, and then you have to beat it in a way that you know you have to be able to repeat it. Because sometimes when we film, we'll shoot this on Tuesday. We won't shoot the other part of it till 2 months later. So who remembers all the time? I do because I make that my business, but the average person don't. So that's when we have to do continuity photos, and we have to make sure, and I teach people that I mentor, make a pie shape in the head. Remember, okay, I took this one 2 times over, I took this one down. So you can remember that if you have to do it a week, because some shows, I've done one particular hairstyle for 2 weeks straight. That's it, because they didn't finish that particular scene into 2 weeks. So it's so many layers. And leading up to me getting Lovecraft, when they called us back, Brian was like, Mo, this gonna be a big one. This gonna be bigger than True Detectives. And I was like, I know, because now we have a lot of female, and True Detectives was just the guys. But here we go, got Letty. Here we go, got Christina. Here we go, we got Ruby. We got all the extra additional female that was coming in and out even the voodoo lady. We had all these different layers that each episode had, and we had to come up with a different concept. He came up with the general basic settings, but we worked together so much. He trusts me. He was like, okay, Mo. He was like, excuse me, my phone is tripping. He was like, I trust you. Go with it. You know the shape, you know the style, keep the period. And I'm the type of key that I'm very detailed. I made sure those people that we call in the additional hairstylists, they have boards that we make. And I'm grateful for Google, because now Google make it so easy that you can find pictures that are so authentic. And I had to make sure that when people watch this show, and it feels so good when I have gotten so much, I'm talking about aunties calling me that didn't know that I worked on it. And when I say I did, they was like, you know what, Mom, I should have known you worked on it, because I know your work. That's why I look good. I was like, okay, thank you. It wasn't just me. It was a lot of folks. But it was a lot of my guiding, and because for the key do all the scheduling. We do all the secondary actors. We make sure that that the additional people that we get are prepared and knowledgeable to make sure that they create these looks, because a lot of times people look at background and think they're not really relevant. But for me, because I'm a filmmaker as well, so for me in my head, I have to make sure that this room looks like that picture that you're expecting. You know what I'm saying? So when we got hold of this, we started. Misha had her own thing, like she always do, amazing as she is. Oh my God, I wish y'all could meet her. She's such a force. And when I tell you, that girl is amazing, just as quiet, but she know her stuff, and she know what she like, and she see, because when you see Miss Ingenue Ellis pull off Hippolyta look, oh my God, you're gonna be like, wow. All I'm gonna tell you is wow, because she's taking a trip. she's taking a trip. So get ready.
I have a question. So I know that when you are sort of deciding what the characters are, they each have their own universe. You know what I mean? Like they each have their own world.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we see Letty's look is Letty's look. Ruby's look is Ruby's look. And each one, no matter what's happening, their hair is going to suit their personality and their character. Do you ever find it difficult to sort of mark that out while giving them some versatility, like from day to day, like this is her casual look, this is her formal
Yes.
look, and it maintaining being essentially them?
Yes, we have to do that as well. My department head, Brian Badi, he actually did Letty, and I did Ruby. Ruby was my the one that I was assigned to Ruby. And when we because like I said, we didn't do the pilot. So by us not doing the pilot, some stuff was kind of already structured, and we had to go with a flow. So they had figured, Misha had already told them pretty much of the look, that traditional 50s little wedge bob of, especially from her hair texture, because we actually used her hair the whole entire show. Journey has beautiful hair.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell when certain events, he will put more curl and more texture, versus when the actual humidity got hold to it and did its own thing, which it would have did actually in itself, in real time. And that's what made it even look even realer, because sometimes when we use wigs, if you're not a person that really know wigs can turn out to look wiggy. And if you didn't notice, I would say 90 of the girls, because Brian did Christina, he did Letty, he did William, and he was assigned to, and me and him both did Dale Hillary. That's the young lady that when she came, we both did her from time to time. At first, you see she had the braid, and then she came back with the short hair. He did the short hair. I would do the braid sometime, and he did the really short 1950s cute when she was at the store, at the department store. So those are the looks when we find out the character's development. Then it's up to us to sit with the director, or sit with the writer, or sit with the producer. It all depends on each show. But this one, it was Misha's baby. So we would sit with her in production meetings, and she would tell us, okay, based off the type of person she is. She was this, she was that, she was handling dogs, like in that part with Del Hill was handling dogs. So we didn't want no long flowing hair because it's going to be in the way and be very distracting. So we have to go through the script, allow either the writer, the producer, and all of them to give us a nugget of what we want, and then they give it to us, and then allow us to come back with what we think that fits that personality. And then not just that personality, if that scene, because one scene Christina was giving birth to that thing and they wanted it back, but it didn't continue from the scene before, so we had to leave it down. But I was freaking out because that goo stuff, her hair was blonde, the goo stuff was red, so it was making her wig turn pink. So I was so scared that it was going to stain it, because if it would left up to us, we would have had it pulled back. But coming from scene to scene, continuity had to make it flow. So those are things that, yeah, we definitely have to be very aware and make sure that the thought process has already happened for personality, scene, and character development. Yes.
Wow. You've given us so much, but I know that they are chomping at the bit about tonight's episode 7. Hip. We have been missing her. For some people debated, has it been weeks since we've seen Hip? And I had to say, no, wait a minute. Emmett Till has not died. August 28th has not happened. You know, we have to run in and say, look, guys, it's only been days. So, Mona, I already heard that you worked on the transformation hair, which looks like it was crazy how their bodies just molted. What were you doing with that hair? That's
well, if you notice, because Wumi, I can't pronounce her last name properly, so I'm not gonna tear her name up, but her real name is Wumi, that played Ruby. Her hair was really short and natural. So when we decided to use the wig to give her that rendition of the poodle look from Lucille Ball in the 50s,
yes.
that was her look.
Okay.
So that was the inspiration. That's why normally if you see on my page on Monday afterward, I give my inspiration, character development inspirational photos, because for me, every character had to have a look that I knew that came from a certain place. So when Brian was like, I always wanted to do a show with the poodle look, but Letty has her look. You gonna do it on Ruby. You can do it on Ruby. I said, okay, let's do it on Ruby. Let's make it happen. And because we wanted everybody, when you see Ruby, not only just from complexion or whatever, but you know her look. You know Letty's look. And anytime I do a show, I want to make sure each character, when you're watching, you don't think, oh, that was the same person. Everybody stands out in their look, because their acting and their character is totally different anyway, but you would want that. That's what I think. But sometimes, from being a TV connoisseur, I don't see that all the time, but I make it my business when I'm doing something, especially on an episode.
Wow. So
and for the transformation hair, like you said,
yeah,
I used a straight wig for her poodle look, and I knew if anybody that had a straight hair, if that hair got wet in that goo, it was gonna do what? Revert.
Right.
You see that I got a natural curly wig, because I wanted to read not looking like it's straight, because a lot of them didn't necessarily bone straight their hair back then either. But I also want to bring texture to the screen.
Right.
It was intentional, trust me. And Misha didn't argue with me. She said, okay, Mona, whatever. Okay, you're right. Black girls do curl up, their hair curl up, but I wanted that natural girl in that screen pulling it off, because I know it would have reverted. Even if you had a relaxer, sometimes the hair would get that natural kink, but I wanted that to actually play. That was Mona.
And
Thank
we
you,
appreciate it, because we notice, you notice all of those little things, and sometimes it's in what you don't notice. Like if we're just watching the scene and I'm not thinking about the fact that, oh, look at that hair, oh, look at that, it's, I don't even see it, because it is so much a part of this world. It just fits. I don't even see it. It's just like water down the river.
Anytime the hair makes a distraction, anytime the makeup makes a distraction, anytime the clothes make a distraction, I think it takes away from the character, to be honest. Because even though you seen her transform and all the, you didn't say, oh, her hair don't fit. You just was like, okay, yeah, that's what our hair do. You know, not even consciously thinking, but you seen it. But you've also seen shows and you were like, girl, that was a horrible wig. Oh my God. Did they not see that? What were they thinking? I see it all the time. And that's why I make it my business to train. I do a lot of training. I do a lot of practice. I buy a lot of dolls. I buy a lot of books and I read and I research because I see that's this period where God tended to kind of lead me all the time. I'm just like, okay, I guess I'm the period girl.
I mean, but you all breathed life into that because we started recently, we just started an album in the group and everyone's been showing pictures of their grandparents from the 50s and the 60s. And when you go down this album, it's like, yeah, this is it. All just whoever's walking across the street, the recreations of Gordon Parks photography, all of that. Like you're just looking at it and you're like, where did they time travel these people? Like this, it's just part of it, and it's so natural and it's so spot on. From the pomade sitting on hips, the nightstand to just, it's just everything, and it's so nostalgic. You know, it's
Yes,
like you can smell the hairspray. You can, it
yes.
just takes you back to sitting watching hair get done. Then it's just part of the coziness of this show. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's just part of it.
And I'm just so excited that everybody is enjoying the show in itself as a whole, because not just in our department, but we really worked hard. Like you said about the pomades, we even the containers, we had to make sure the lipstick tubes were tubes that were um actually tubes that you could probably get back then. It was so many people playing a part of this, and we all was a collabing team. Costume will come ask us, we'll go ask costume, how about if we put, like you said about the tie, tying it down. What about if you have a scarf and you're like, no, we don't have one, but we get one. Hold up, wait a minute. Everybody want it, and then when we see the look, we're like, oh yeah, that's what it needed, just that little. Mm. So we were a collaborative team. Like were we worked. I think we averaged 16 to 18-hour days for months, and it actually went over because I didn't do the pilot. I did episode 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't do 6 because they pushed 6 to the last end. I did 7, 8, and some of 9 because I left there early because they were supposed to finish in October, but they didn't. And I went to start and do Respect. So I left there to do another period. So when I got that call, I had always prayed about, and this was so funny. I would always say, I would love to do a Black film, Black beautiful women singing, and in the 50s. And when I got the call, I turned it down 3 times because I was on Lovecraft and I didn't want to leave. And I was so torn. And then when it came back to me the third time, it was like God said, yeah, I know you want to be here, but they going to be all right. You didn't train them. Get off, leave them, take the training wheels off of them. Go on. I got something for you over here. But it was hard because we were all family over there. But I'm glad that I did go because I wanted to make sure Mother Aretha was done correctly too. And
Yes.
when you come out, y'all need to start a group on that, girl, because y'all ain't ready for that one either. I'm telling you, I'm so proud to be a part of Watchmen, Lovecraft, and Respect. Y'all don't even understand how grateful I am to be a part of that.
Well, let it be known that this is a bookmark that we're coming back to you, Mona, when Respect comes out.
Yes. Okay, cool. I'm here.
Yes.
Now, let's get to Hip, because I know
Come
like,
on.
they're chomping at the bit. Hip's look, she's motherly, but she is also brilliance as a Black woman who is ready to get some stuff solved. So she's got this motherly look, but I still think it belies who she really is. So what's going on in 7 and her look?
With 7, she's on a journey, like I said. She's going to explore her inner self. You're going to see so many layers in this one that you're going to be like, wow. Because yes, she was portrayed as I'm the mother, but if you can tell, she's very intuitive, like what is really happening. When she found that little machine, because she's always been the one at the stars and the stars and the stars and writing, and her and Miss D, her daughter, and she's training her up. She's training her. So when they got to that point where now they're trying to figure things out, all of episode 7 is going to take you on a major journey. And her hair is on a journey too. That's why I said it almost killed me, because I had to do her look. I had to do a wig for her double. I had to do a wig for her body double, even a dancing double. So sometimes I would have
that
to make
little cute
4.
Bob.
Well, yeah.
Yes. So I had to make 4 of those wigs, because it was her sometimes, it was a double, and then it was her body double as well. So
Whoa.
every look that she had, from, you see her warrior princess when she was looking, I had to hand braid 3 wigs. And in the midst, because we actually shot that episode in a row, so every 2-3 days, here come another one, here come another one, here come another one. So I had to get all 3 of them ready and actually put it on all 3 of them. So yeah, it almost took me out. It was a lot. But this is the episode that I'm so anxious to see them put together, because when we're filming, you don't see all the special effects, because even the soldiers, you're gonna see their look and the costume. Y'all ain't ready for this episode, but it's really telling who she is, because everybody like thinks that she's low key, because what they do as Black women, especially as Black mothers. Oh, she's just a mom.
Mm-hmm.
She's just a mom. She's just a wife.
Mm-hmm.
And we have so much in us, especially in that time period. It was certain things that a woman could only do, especially a Black woman. Even now, they still categorize us and put us in these boxes that try to transform. And then when you try to come out, oh, you're a problem, or you're angry, or you this, or you so bossy, can't tell you nothing. That's not necessarily true. But this is the stereotypes that come with a strong Black woman. And this episode is going to show Black woman realness. And I was so excited to do this one. It wore me out, but I cannot wait to see it put together. I cannot wait.
Oh.
And the details of the looks, you guys are going to be like, what? Because I'm just going to throw a little hint. It's one look that my boss did on the lady that's playing. Do I want to give y'all that little grocery? No, I don't give y'all that little grocery yet. But
no, we're gonna show this after the episode, so you can say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the young lady that's playing God, she got a look, y'all, that's gonna take us back. It is amazing.
Look at our faces.
Brian
I was like, we're ready.
An amazing job on God. Just say that. Y'all ain't gonna be ready for God. She is amazing. She is amazing. So I'm telling you, it's Black girl realness in this one. This whole episode is nothing but Black girl real. From the time it starts on the trip, on the journey, from her going through her transition of warping to where she's in this consciousness of finding out who she is. God gives her the opportunity to be who she thinks she is. So be, and all the looks that she's given, those are looks that were her, that she never was able to explore, being that she became a mama, she became a wife, she's an educator, these titles that we have to carry. But inside we have this warrior princess, we have this girl that wanted to explore, want to be that dancer, because like me, I wanted to be an actress and a performer, even though now I do it now. But it was so funny how God took me from the back and brought me to the front. So now I get opportunities. Most of the shows that I get on, they ask, "Mona, you want to be in the show? You want to do it? You want to do it?" And I'll be like, "Oh, okay, girl." And I'll be like, "God, you're so funny." Because I never would have thought that I would even be in this industry, let alone here I am in the opportunity with producers and most people get a left leg and their contacts are in my phone. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And it's different when somebody know you, but it's okay when they know you and you know them too. And those are the type of relationships that I have developed over the years, because people know that I'm very serious about what I do, and I'm very passionate about our stuff, especially because I want to make sure, because I've seen over the years and a lot of discrepancies have been going back and forth about how our stuff don't add up. And that's not true. And I think a lot of times, even some of us, we don't have the same type of, because it's been accepted. But I expect nothing but excellence. And they started calling me, because I'm from Louisiana and I've only been in Atlanta 3 years, and they called me General B. When you work on set with Mona, that's General B, because I don't play. You're not coming with a mediocre look. You're not. I'm going to pull everything you thought you didn't have in you. I'm going to pull it out of you because I know it's there. And it's just a matter of, sometimes you have to, because people get mediocre or they be like, that's good enough. No, we want not good. We don't want best. I want amazing. And that's what you guys got. That's why you can see the difference in this show. And it's reading. And I'm so excited that it's reading. You just don't know how, because I worked hard. My boss worked hard. Those additionals worked hard. We worked hard. It was a lot of wig. I'm talking about average that Marshall Phillips one. We probably had to collect at the end of the day 40 wigs. 40.
And reset.
At the end of the night of that one day. Then we have to sanitize. Then we have to go prep and get them all, because it took us 4 days to shoot Marshall Phillips. So we had to do it all over again. Because each part had its own thing. So even though they was on this side of the store, we're not going to do the other side of the store tomorrow. So now those people have to cross into frame. So now we got to make them look all the same again. And so it's a lot. It's a lot of behind the scenes things that we go through in the different departments that take a lot of work. But we get paid good, so I ain't mad. But a lot of people want to get paid for nothing, but I don't mind. To me, a good day's work is okay, because I look at every hair I do as my next audition for my next job.
Right. That's right. Mona, you touched on some things that, and I get it all in, because you are really speaking to the heart of what our particular group functions, the way we function at. Let me tell y'all out there they've always asked us, is anybody from the cast or crew in this group? And we always warn them, you know what?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And so you jumped in from the first moment you and I communicated. And I certainly didn't warn anybody other than the mods that, you know what? We got somebody coming in who actually is going to be able to see how we feel about it. And so the group is aimed towards intellect, not just throwing out memes and saying whatever. We really try and break apart everything that comes across the screen. And when I say what you have said today has fed us, number one, about spirit. We talk about spirit all the time, and your work, the spirit of your work and what you have done as a professional in this and on this production and other productions that we're just finding out, has incredibly blessed us, continues to bless larger than this little audience of 8,000. We're talking about millions of people who see your heart and your soul in what you're putting out there. And I just want to say, first of all, we're so appreciative. We recognize it.
Thank you.
Continue to bless us. As I said, respect. We will be looking for you time that comes out. But really, mediocrity. There's mediocrity all around us. And in our group, we demand that you leave that at the door. You can't come in without saying, you know what, I will adhere to what we have as rules. And we're adamant about that. And so mediocrity is not tolerated. We don't want that. We want the elevation. We're here for your ascendance, for everyone's ascendance in the group. And so you just spoke to our heart. I wanted to communicate that to you.
Thank you. And I appreciate it, because that's me. I've always been that girl coming from a small city, coming from a state that they figured that nothing good can come out of, and having the different opportunities that I have had, to be requested by producers. When I did Fences, there was the same producers from The Great Debaters, and they found me and brought me to Fences because they knew that I could bring a certain to the table. You know what I'm saying? So it matters anything you do. I don't care from the smallest element of making somebody look crazy to the brilliance of the Hollywood glam look. Everything has a thought process, and it should be coming, like you said, from the heart. I worked in a salon that was called Blessed Hands, and they always used to mess with me all the time and say, them hands are blessed. Them hands, I was like, I know they are, because I never took hair as my career. I was placed into it. And a lot of people were like, you ain't want to do hair when you go. I was like, no, I just picked it up. I seen it as a hobby. And God led me, and I just followed. And I try to lead those now that come behind me, to motivate them to expect excellence from them. Because we as people, we will make excuses, and I don't tolerate them. Not when it comes to this work, because once it hit that screen, you're gonna be cringing. Ooh, I should have did that better. Ooh, that's horrible. Oh my God. It's too late then. And that's why they used to get so mad at me about the background, because you know everybody, oh, background. Oh no, background tells a story. That pomade you looked at, that tells the story. The brush tells the story. That picture on the wall, it tells the story. And when people really get, especially in filmmaking, you can tell those that have the heart to be able to give that type of, that realness to what we do. Because it's a lot of work, and people think, oh, they just be with actors and red carpet and they pretty and fabulous. Girl, we be in so much mud. We used to be in so much rain. We be out there freezing, standing over a little hut, and we go and have to touch up them actors. Everything that you see those actors go through, we're going through it too. But we over by a tent watching a monitor, freezing or burning up, because especially in Louisiana, baby, them mosquitoes, oh my God. They will kill you. You will go home with 5,000 little bites on your arm, and by the time you get up the next morning, they're still swollen. And here come another 5,000, because you got to go shoot in the same swamp with the same. And one time they even caught an alligator on one scene. An alligator. It's a lot to make these amazing, especially those period films, because we have to go into those thickets. So we were on this plantation on Underground, and oh my God, the gnats and the mosquitoes. And I used to say, I don't even know how those two films made me really realize as a Black woman how much. And that's what I had a lot of respect for Journey, because Journey was actually pregnant on season 2. That was her pregnant. She was 7 months pregnant when we shot that show. That wasn't a fake belly. That was her belly. She actually got buried in the scene. It was a scene she got buried with the ground. She was actually buried underground. Everything she went through. And she said she wanted to come to the table because she could only imagine the stuff that Black women had to go through, and she wanted to experience. And that's why that show meant so much to me. And so when I knew Misha was attached to Lovecraft, girl, I didn't care if my arm fell off. Misha, I got you. I got you, girl. I said, whatever your vision is, Misha, I got you. And when she showed me them Shagats for the first time, we had just seen the visual, because they did this the CGI little puppeteers.
Yeah.
So I couldn't wait till the show came on to actually see them jokers with them teeth coming. But on her thing in her office, she actually had how they were going to look. And I didn't see it until I came back to give her my rap gift. And I said, oh, Misha, that's how them damn Shagats going to look. She said, yeah. I said, you had that in your head? I said, how do you sleep at night? And she said, good. Cause she that girl, she's just so cool and laid back. I love her. She was like, I sleep good, Mona. I sleep good. And y'all would love to meet her. Like, I'm telling you, she is that girl that is really a creative, and she loves what she do. And you see everything that it reads, it translates, and it's rolled out and thought out really well. And those people that help her, they dream team. That's all I can say. Wow. Just a good dream team. And she was blessed to have some good people to help her make this vision come to pass, because it was hundreds of us. And I just want to applaud and let everybody that I come across, let them know that you guys are in existence, and that all of you guys are really, from when I joined Pam, I started reading, and I couldn't even go to sleep the first night I joined. I was like, man, she was right. This is intensely amazing. I was like looking at the comments. I was like, some of the people on point, with the different breakdown. I ain't say nothing. I was like, I ain't say nothing. I can't say nothing. But I'm like, let me find out y'all know what y'all doing. Come through. I'm just sitting here just reading. I was like, oh my God, these are some amazing articles, some amazing comments. And it feels so freaking amazing to be able to know that we put that much work into it and everybody is responding. When I tell you, from the older to the younger, or y'all heard about Lovecraft? Y'all heard about Lovecraft? You seen Lovecraft? I was like, I knew it was gonna be big though. I knew it was gonna be big though. I really did. I knew it just from the writing, but I knew if the CGI and all the special effects came into play with what we had already did, I knew it was gonna be, because that acting, baby, them actors, everybody she chose gave their character life. It's just so, all I can say is amazing. Like, because I'm a science fiction girl anyway, but it's just like every little, because each episode is leading you to, because y'all ain't gonna ready for that finale. I'm just telling you. Just know each episode has its own connect to the next one, but not disconnect, but yet it's going to connect.
Wow.
So make sure you watch it in detail, because when this girl comes to the end, y'all gonna be like, oh. That's all I can say, because I said that when I read it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be ready for this, because I wasn't ready.
You know, I have to ask you this because this has been an ongoing debate in this group, and I just have to ask. Was it a deliberate decision to have Gia and Letty's hair be remotely similar?
I think it was because of the time frame. See, my boss did both of them. It was the time frame, because if you look at it, Letty's hair is not the same as Gia's. Gia's has, because the 50s has a certain look. It's tight here. So Letty has a bob, which is wedged here. But if you see when Gia turned, you see the weight is here. Because even with Ruby's hair, you see the weight line. And that's a general 1950s look. So when you see Gia's weight here, Letty has a part in her bob, and her hair actually does that. So it's the similarity, but it's really different, because Gia actually had on a wig. And that wig, when you comb it out, it would hit about here. In the 50s, they rolled their hair with paper bags, or they pin curl it. And most of them wore their hair really short. So to get that look at me, ready to go. I always call it high and tight. And it gives you that. And when you bring it around, it gives you that same shape. You see how it's even looking similar now? And because 50s was like a bona fide look. So if you even go back and you look in the at different examples of pictures, the shape is always ideally. And that's what I love about the 30s. Those are my favorites. The 30s, the 20s, the 40s, 50s, and the 60s. 70s not my too much of my favorite. Kind of got loose and long, and kind of started dislocating. But 50s was that era. They was growing out of the 30s, coming out of the 40s. Women either wear their hair really long or they wore their hair really short. So when it got to the 50s, they kept it in that middle range. It's not too long, not too short. So that's what makes it look a lot similar. But if you get it really close, you will see both of them have the 50s shape, but they're totally different looks. And he was going, trying to give, from what I remember, because I wasn't there on there, but we talked about it before we got to episode 6, because episode 6 was the one that they pushed to the last part of filming, because that was the biggest one with all that props and all that stuff had to do, because they actually built that thing in Atlanta too. That was all that was built. Them construction guys here, whew, baby, they did them scenes. They did them setups. But yeah, they have the basic 50s, but their style different. If you go back and really see, it's a little similarity, but it's just really the 1950s basic look.
We can lay that to rest, because
Yeah.
it was on and popping. The minute somebody had a side by side, that went on for like 3 days.
But if you look at, because even how he curled it and textured it, it was just the shape, because the 50s is really easy to read. And that's from what I remember us talking about it in the beginning. Now, he may had a different process at the end of why, but I know the 50s because Misha really wanted those looks to be authentically in there. And so even if I would have took Ruby's hair down, because I pushed hers up, if I would have took it down, we would have had to base it the same look because that's what the 50s had.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow.
I was going to say that the scene of the drag ball, you had a lot of looks. Oh my,
Yeah.
I know that.
That
I was like,
one
well,
was
first of all,
so
what does
much
50s drag look
fun.
like?
That one was so much fun because when we did the research for that, because I really didn't know that world was in the 50s that strong. I know ain't nothing new under the sun. I get that. But I didn't know that it was like a thing just like it is now. Like it had its own little world. And I didn't know that. And we Googling and I wrote them. I was like, oh, so you seen the powerhouses even then with the different looks. And when I tell you every picture that we found, we produced in that look on that show. Because I did the lady that played, oh God, the girl that, oh, what's her name? That's known with the guy that was military. Oh God, Dorothy Dandridge.
Oh,
Oh,
Dorothy.
We had to do the Dorothy Dandridge look. We had a
Dinah
what's
Washington.
Diana Washington. We had, I'm talking about, we had so many looks that we had to go. We dug deep and gave like the traditional looks. We took wigs and we created. And then we went into background world. We had those that actually we recreated some pictures that we actually found in the archives that they had found like way deep in a vault. And we had to actually dig deep. But I didn't really know until then that nothing is really new under the sun. Like they were living like serious lives, like in this whole world, and then they would come out, you wouldn't even know that was the same person.
Right. Right.
But it was a fun because Shangela, she was that girl. When I tell you we had some fun shooting that episode. It was so many amazing people doing that show because we shot that in one day. We actually shot that in one day. We did that ball. And
Wow.
glitter was everywhere because we were so scared because Misha said, I want glitter. We was like, no, because if we have to do another take, we gotta get all the glitter out of these people. She was like, Mona, I promise. We're gonna do the glitter as the last one. Just in case I don't like the glitter, we're gonna make it the last. I know. I said, girl, we're gonna be cleaning up glitter for the rest of our life. And she did the glitter and she got a glitter. And she ended up using the glitter thing. And it turned out good because it ran. So I was just like, you just have to go with the vision.
It did.
Yes.
I was going to say a lot of the folks on our group are in love with Jonathan.
Oh my
that
God.
goes without saying. That's
So
a statement, Pam.
give them one little tidbit. We
Please,
believe him
Lord.
to be like
Please.
godlike. So whatever you say.
Jonathan is one of the most well-rounded sweetheart of a young man. He is such, the young man that groomed him on our show was Sincere Gillis from Director's Cut Inc. in New York. He came down to do Michael K. Williams. He also did groom Michael K. And in grooming Michael K., we asked him because he was there, can you help us with the other men? And he was like, okay. And so he kind of got Jonathan by default. And then Courtney is wearing a wig as well. Courtney B. Vance is wearing a wig as well. And the young man that was doing the wig, which was Lawrence Davis, the guy that left, that I was doing Watchmen with, that had to leave, Sincere took it upon himself to want to learn and to apply the wig. So I monitored him and he took it. And so he ended up grooming all three of the main character guys. And him and Jonathan got a major rapport because he's such that dude. He's such a sweetheart. And I think him, and I don't know if y'all familiar with Yaya from Watchmen that played the Dr. Manhattan. Them two guys there, Jonathan Majors and Yaya, I think his last Mantine Abdul, he from New Orleans.
Okay.
He played them two guys there. I promise you, this is just the beginning. Y'all gonna be talking about these young men for a long time. Jonathan is that dude, and he's so smart. He's so he I'm telling you, he's like so dedicated. He would come, laugh, and talk and joke with us in the trailer. And soon as it's time for him to go, that the day that he did the ghost scene,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people think that was special effects of his head shaking and all that stuff. That boy freaked us out. We was looking at the monitor. We was like, what the hell is happening? Oh my God. But he was so into it, and him and Journey's relationship, just like that. They shot like we all became family. And that was such a blessing, because when you become family like that, it reads on screen. And that's why y'all seeing this warm, loving young man, because that's who he is. That's
Wow.
exactly who he is. And he's a great actor. And I can just see his levels are already growing. So to get to that height, whew, I cannot wait. I'm ready to see that journey, because just meeting, because this was my first time working with him. And just off that, we was together 6-7 months. That young man is something to be reckoned with. Y'all gonna be like, oh, Jonathan. Oh, I'm not shocked, because his levels, like he can go from that sweet guy you see that was sitting in the restaurant to possessed in the same day.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
takes a lot for people to dig deep like that to create those characters. So you can tell where where he's at.
Ugh.
Okay, I have to say this as well, because they've been shouting over this scene since it came out. Letty in the church with this hat and her hair swooping was everything we needed to know.
Come on, Mona.
That's all we needed to know.
Baby, that was between Brian, my department head, and the costume designer. I forgot my lady name. Lord Jesus, I see her face. She would kill me. I can't think of her name right now. But when they brought that hat in that trailer, baby, we all was talking about that. He had to put that hat on at the church, because that hat. Because when she brought it in, it was. Well, he said, baby, when you get in that church, we're going to cock it like a pistol. That's what I told you. Going to cock it like a pistol. You know, because you know how our black ladies in church had them pistols. Them hats. That hat was a creation of our costume designer. She had got that. And just like the one that Ruby wore in the store. Because they had her with a pillbox hat. You know, back then, women and men wore hats. Those were signatures as well. I don't know if y'all knew that. Hats, handkerchiefs, scarves, and jewelry was like major accent pieces. And men was so serious about their brims. There was so many different types of brim. And there were certain rules about the brims, like you couldn't wear them to certain events, certain things. You can't wear them inside. Like with women were more praised, and that meant that you were in a certain category when you wore different types of hats. And so to see that element to be brought in from the costume designer, it just gave that little extra element too.
Let me tell you, I debated when Hillary comes down the steps for her first day in the store, and she's got a little hat on, and I'm like, why is she inside with the hat? I can understand she came off the street with the hat, but she's at work. So I'm happy to hear that there was actually some foundation for her to be inside with the hat on.
Because for women, it was okay. It's always, even now. That's why you even notice that women still wear hats inside. Men, no. Men have more rules to their hair wear. When a man come in, he has to take his, just like when you see most older men get on young boys when they're wearing the caps, even though now, you know, they're getting away because most of these boys be ready to fight you behind a $60 little hat that they wore and left the tag on. But yeah, those were rules that were really applied more to the men, but women was like adamant about their hat wearing. Like that was a signature thing. So for her to have that on, being that she really was Ruby on the inside, that was giving Ruby a little extra nugget that I have arrived and I'm a white woman.
Okay. I have one last question. Your favorite look that you had to do through all these episodes?
Oh, I can't say a favorite, because let me think if I actually have a fave. I have
Even if it's like one that was just fun to do, you know, like this was just, I had to reset it a million times, but I didn't mind it because it was just.
Episode 7 was the funnest. Like it was the hardest, but it was the most fun. I would say that because a lot of the looks I had to start from scratch and actually build and actually create. So I would say episode 7, not necessarily just one look, but episode 7 out of all the episodes was my most challenging because of having to make so many in a little amount of time, because normally one episode can, in a regular episodic world, it's normally 7 to 10 days. Most time in period is 7 to 14 days. So in that little amount of time, I was having to make so many pieces. But when you see the different looks, you're gonna see what I mean by episode 7, because the looks, once they were established in the other episodes, they stayed the same. You know, a little bit of variation with a hairpiece or a scarf or something. But in episode 7, her look totally changes. It totally changes. And it changes because it's coming out of her. Everything that is coming out of her. And it shows from everything that y'all gonna see.
Wow.
Yes.
Ready. This is just such a perfect beginning to Lovecraft Sunday, Lovecraft Country Sunday. I'm so happy. Thank you so much, Miss Aunt Andrea. Thank you.
Wow. My pleasure.
Yes, it's Andrea Mona Bowman. I want y'all to follow her on IG. She is AndreaMonab on IG.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't miss. She's got some wonderful photos up, and it'll add to your enjoyment. You know, we're trying to always add something, and you have blessed us.
Yes.
You continue to fulfill us every week, even if you're not in our living room every week personally, but you are here tonight, and we're just so excited.
My pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And thank you guys for y'all great support. Thank you guys for all the comments that you made, even though I may not know half of you guys, but I just want y'all to keep talking about it. This is a series that is changing the dynamic, because I always used to say that I would love to see a Black sci-fi film. Like I would like to see something different than the same stuff that they normally shot, you know, that they say that we can only be in that same narrative. So this, and by the time it finished, y'all gonna be like, wow, amazing. And thank you guys for having me. And if y'all want to come back each ending, because I know y'all probably want to come back at the end, because I just want to see y'all face at the end. To be honest, I want to see y'all face. I'm not gonna lie. I just want to see, because you're gonna be like, Mona, you ain't tell us this.
Mona, we want to have a viewing of the finale. We want to do it somewhere. So rest assured, we want to have something happen, and we will come back to you.
Yes, ma'am, and I'm ready, because I just want to see the look on your face, because y'all gonna be like. And when you do it at home, just say, Mona said that.
She did say.
Name instead of hips.
Well, thank you so much, ladies. This has been a pleasure. And you guys, thank you guys, every watcher, anybody associated. Please keep passing on those that are serious and want to really process this out. Let them join. Let's keep talking. Let's keep trying to build and see what else is happening in Lovecraft Country.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Mona. Taylor?
Yes, thank you.